Genesis is breaking barriers for a lot of luxury cars, and now they're bringing you all electric cars. You've seen the GV60 that we had recently. Now let's have a look at this G80 Electrified on this episode of The Real DC Car Guy. It's William West Hopper from The Real DC Car Guy, and we're taking a look at the 2023 Genesis G80. And this is not just any G80, this is an all-electric battery-powered G80, which goes, in our experience, about 270 to 280 miles on a full charge. Now, we've been very, very impressed with this car. We've taken it on the highway, we've taken it in country roads and everywhere. The only thing that I found with this one is that it does take a long time to recharge it on a 110 or 120 level 1 charger, which is your regular plug-in at home, which is what I've been using. Now, Hyundai and Genesis like to put their electric charging plug up front, and that's where it is on this G80. It's right here, set up for your level 1 or level 2, and if you want to go ahead and do the DC fast charging, yep, right here you can do that. This vehicle supposedly, and I have not done this yet, on DC fast charging from 10% to 80% is about 22 minutes on a DC fast charger. It's going to take a little bit longer on a level 2, and I can tell you from my personal experience on level 1, which is just your regular 120 plug-in, which is what I use at home, it takes a long, long time. They say it takes over 80 hours for a full charge on a level 1, which is your 110, 120 outlet that you would have at home. So charging the G80 Electrified is just like charging any other electric vehicle. We're here at our local Safeway store, which has Volta chargers. So you just unplug, find your plug here in the front, and just plug it in. Now, something I always get upset with many of the chargers is that the cords are all sort of discombobulated. There we are. We're sitting here charging, and it even tells me that the charging has started. This is the engine compartment. EV is on in this vehicle. So this is your EV engine. There is no frunk here. This vehicle does not have a frunk. Some of the smaller ones have frunks. That's a big deal. Though there is a cover here over the electric part. You can see the high power cables, windshield washer fluid. There are all your fuses for the 12 volt system. And the car does have a 12 volt system that uses for non-traction for the lights and the gauges and things like that. And of course, brake fluid. Now, one of the things that I have found with this vehicle is it is a little bit smaller on the inside than I expected for the size it was on the outside. Still very comfortable, still has a nice tight feeling to it, but it's not super tight, but it is a little bit smaller, and that is because the floor is raised a little bit for extra battery space. Inside, very much like any other Genesis, with their nice screen here, a nice wood finish here. There's a lot of nice finishes in this vehicle. There's no hard plastic, even up here. It's not hard plastic. Very soft. There is a micro suede up here, a nice wood finish appearing veneer here. I'm not sure what they say it's wood. I'm not sure that it is. They say that this is solid crystal, which is nice. You know, I do have a little bit of problem sometimes when I'm trying to turn the hockey puck gear shifter, and I grab this controller, and this is the controller for up here for the center display. Let's take the GV80 out for a drive, just as all Genesis do. It has this crystal hockey puck gear selector down here. Remember, everything in this vehicle is electric. There is electric motors that run the power steering, electric motors that run the power brakes. There are drive modes. We can go into eco, we can go into comfort, and we can go into sport. So let's go into comfort. When you do change the drive modes, your seat does change for it as well, and you can adjust the seat in many, many different ways, which is very cool. All right, so off we go. So this vehicle is very comfortable to drive. It's very heavy because of the battery. The battery is well over 1,200 pounds. The gross weight on this vehicle is over 5,000 pounds. So it is not a light vehicle, and it doesn't drive like a light vehicle either. It has all-wheel drive, which is really nice, and gives you a nice feeling of stability and comfort when you're on the road. There's never a question for power with this vehicle. I've been very impressed with the power delivery that this vehicle offers. You know, when you need it, it's right there. Classic electric vehicle. It does have the paddles on the wheel for controlling the regeneration or bringing it down and giving it one pedal driving. I haven't quite gotten comfortable with how that works. It gives what's called an I pedal. I tend to like to use the regenerative paddle shifters as a way to slow the vehicle down when you're going into curves or coming to a stop sign. When you need the power, it's right there. It goes right up nice and quick. I'm really pleased with how this vehicle handles the road and holds the road. Very secure. I was driving this vehicle during the recent Hurricane Ian backlash that we had up here in the mid-Atlantic states, and it worked out very well in the wet weather with the wet roads. Now we're getting on the interstate here on Washington's Beltway. I've driven this vehicle on I-95 and up 270 and found it to be a very comfortable, very powerful, perfect road car. Never had any question about that. As a road car on the highway, on the interstate, I would have no problem with this vehicle whatsoever. It works out very well for that. And it tells you if there's somebody in the blind spot, which is nice. It also tells you if you're going to have a collision. Sometimes it yells at you up front if there's a collision warning. So it's got a lot of safety. In class, that's classic Genesis, classic Hyundai. When you turn your turn signal on, you get the blind spot view monitor right there in your rear blind spot, which is really, really good and a big safety asset for anybody driving in any suburban or urban situation. And certainly on the highway, it's really nice too, because you can see what's right behind you. This does have a heads-up display. Unfortunately, GoPro doesn't let me take a good picture of a heads-up display when we're out driving around. Let me see if I can get over here. The heads-up display tells you when there's somebody right behind you, right there, and it tells you the speed and all of that stuff. Pretty bright too. It's not as great. I really like Mazda's heads-up display, but I'm going to give this one a 2, where Mazda, I think, heads-up display is a 1. In the rear of the G80, very comfortable. Headroom a little tight, as we had said a little bit earlier. You do have 2 map pockets right here. The sound system in this vehicle is just amazing. It's really, really good, and it's a lexicon. There are controls here to move the seat forward for this passenger, so they have a little bit more of a limousine experience. Down here, there is controls for heat back here, but I am not seeing heated or ventilated rear seats, which is interesting. But in right and left ventilation for it for here. You have the vents right here, which is nice. So I can control that there, turn that on and off there. You have individual temperature there. Of course, here you have a nice armrest with a little kubi space, 2 USB-A outlets back here. I was looking for USB-A outlets here, but they're not. They are right here. There's a little area there. There's 2 cup holders here. And yes, there is even a small pass-through here if you had skis, which is very nice for that. So nice space in the back. It has the same perforated leather seats that you have in the front. Very bucket-like seats, very, very comfortable for that. So one other thing that you're gonna find in this vehicle are these manually operated privacy shades, which are really nice if you're taking somebody who doesn't want to be seen. You can bring up the privacy shade. It's also good if you have a baby in the back that's sleeping. Now, Genesis is always funny about their hatch or their trunk buttons. You kind of figure out where is it down here? But in this one, it's right here, right above the rear camera. Push it in there and it opens automatically. And of course, it has the electric close as well, which is very, very nice. Now, another drawback of having this G80 Electrified is that it loses some storage space, some trunk cargo space, because a battery takes up some space there. And there is not a spare tire in the Electrified G80. There is a tire kit because there's not room for a spare tire. How are you going to be able to tell if this G80 is electric or ICE powered? Well, look down below. No exhaust tips and no badging for electrification on the back. That tells you that it's an electric vehicle. Now, the one thing you're going to notice on this G80 that is electrified is that there is not a sunroof or a moonroof on it. Now, that's something that kind of missing in high-end luxury vehicles without a sunroof or a moonroof. But in this vehicle, there is a reason for it because of the battery packs that are at the bottom. Raise the floor on the interior of the vehicle. You don't have the floor to ceiling space as you would in a gas-powered or an ICE G80. Overall thoughts on the Genesis G80 Electrified? Well done, Genesis. I think the finishes in this vehicle are done well. I really like the micro suede headliner. I like the soft plastic and soft leather that's everywhere. The look is good, the design is good. There are not a lot of gewgaws on it, which is one of the things you'd heard me complain about from previous Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis vehicles, is the little over-detailing of their interiors. Not on this one. Very nicely done. Very elegant steering wheel with the controls very easily to get to. And by the way, it is a heated steering wheel, which is really nice in the winter. As you can see, it just is so smooth. Really like the power delivery in this vehicle. It's just so smooth. I hope you have enjoyed this real DC Car Guy review of the Genesis G80 Electrified. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for future auto, truck, and car reviews here on The Real DC Car Guy. Until next time.